I actually contacted Ryan Grim via email and he responded to me. And I told him like about Graham Platner's policy positions, how they're just blatantly imperialist. I showed him like a bunch of his Reddit posts, and I know that he read them because he responded to me, right? So Ryan Grim, knowing all that stuff about Platner already, obviously, though he should know it himself, he's like supposedly a national security journalist, an anti-imperialist firebrand. He should be able to look into this stuff himself. Ryan Grim invited Graham Platner onto his show Breaking Points with Krystal to just give him a puff piece. And I'm calling it a puff piece because it wasn't like a real interview. In a real interview, for one, you don't help the guest lie. Ryan Grim helps him lie here. He gives him like framings of the questions that are extremely favorable to him. And when you know your guest is lying, which Ryan Grim definitely does, and I'll explain how in a second, you push back on them. But this was a puff piece, right? Ryan Grim and Krystal like the mass murderer Graham Platner, so they invited him on to give him like a really softball favorable interview so that he can launder himself. And this is happening after Graham Platner reshuffled his campaign. And yet, you should think here, why is Graham Platner so boosted, seemingly? It's because Graham Platner is the one who was chosen by the mainstream Democratic Party to be that guy. There is another guy running called Jordan some shit. I don't know what his fucking last name is because I don't see it here and I already forgot. Jordan Wood, there it is. He has the exact same platform as Graham Platner. It's literally the exact same with all the problems, by the way. Like, he loves the veterans, blah, 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 blah. Very wishy-washy sort of liberal imperialist stuff, just like Graham Platner's thing. Practically the exact same platform. But you've never heard of him. Why have you never heard of him? Because Graham Platner is the one who was specifically chosen by the millionaires, the billionaires, the people with money, the consulting firms, the Democratic Party, mainstream, to use as their entryist candidate here. That's why you know about Graham Platner, but you don't know about this guy. Now, obviously, this guy sucks in terms of politics, just as much as Platner does, but you guys could at least give us the courtesy of voting for the guy who isn't a mass murderer, who's proud of it and brags about it constantly, right? If you have to vote for some guy in Maine, because these guys are always like, well, who else are you going to vote for? Why don't you vote for this fucking guy then? At least he's not a mass murderer. He's a fucking liberal shitbag, but at least he's not a fucking literal mass murderer of Iraqis and Afghans. And the reason why Platner is the guy who you're hearing about is because, as this article goes into, Graham Platner's campaign is run by Kevin Brown. Kevin Brown's past campaign work includes the presidential bids of Elizabeth Warren and Barack Obama. Incredible. They also hired Spruce Street Consulting, which is a consulting firm that is used by like these sorts of entryist Democratic Party candidates all the time. He's also paid his staffers $15,000 to sign an NDA. Where the fuck is that money coming from? This guy is such an obvious plant. This guy is just so obviously tailor-made to be like a base, progressive, new squad member type guy. And they just get behind it anyway. They don't even ask questions about it. So that's the context of this interview, is that this is a PR interview. Graham Platner has a campaign manager. He has a consulting firm behind him. His staff all signed NDAs. They likely sent him a list of questions beforehand, screened them, told them what they're allowed to ask and what not to. So this is a puff piece. This is specifically like a softball interview designed to launder this man's reputation. And you can see that especially when they bring up Blackwater. Do they mention Abu Ghraib? No, they don't mention Abu Ghraib. Graham Platner has bragged constantly, multiple times, about how he was a guard at the Abu Ghraib concentration/torture camp, the infamous one. That's where the pictures that you've seen of torture in the Iraq War of random Iraqis kidnapped, that was where he was guarding. No, Ryan Grim, national security expert journalist, doesn't ask a single question on that. Not one mention of Abu Ghraib. But they do mention Blackwater. Like, they had to bring this up. They could not bring this up, especially because they wanted to give him like an opportunity to come up with excuses for it.
We got a whole bunch on, your service and then also your time with the Blackwater offshoot, what Constellus, I think it was called.
Now, Ryan Grim knows that Constellus is Blackwater. What Constellus is, it's a conglomerate made up from a merger of all of the mercenary companies that were born out of the Iraq and Afghanistan invasions. It was formed in 2012, I believe, and it came about essentially because as American operations sized down in Iraq and Afghanistan, because, it had been like 10 years almost at that point, there was no longer any need to have like 5 different mercenary companies, so they all merged together to form Constellus. And the biggest of them was Blackwater. The most infamous, most well-known was Blackwater. So Ryan Grim knows that. He definitely knows that, but he frames it as an offshoot. Constellus, I think it was called. You don't know that? Yes, you do, you lying fuck.
One of them, so from Halal Flow says, like, how does someone with your worldview end up working for Blackwater?
So we've been over his worldview. His worldview is this post, for example. He said in 2021, he would still be in the military if they would let him stay in combat. He posted on Reddit saying that he joined specifically because he wanted to kill people. That's his worldview, okay? He joined the US military because he wanted to kill people. His worldview is not contrary to these wars at all. His worldview is the American empire should absolutely invade other countries, murder people, rape them. That's why he participated in it 5 fucking times. That's why he joined up. He wanted to do that. He just thinks it should be more efficient. He just thinks the Iraq and Afghan wars were pointless. So the framing of this question is wrong. Like, what do you mean someone with your worldview? His worldview is totally compatible with that. His worldview is that.
I think a lot of people on the left would find that helpful to hear. They're worried you might be another Fetterman. Man, Fetterman is haunting.
There's a lot of trauma.
So much trauma.
I feel it too. There's a lot of trauma there.
He said you touched on this a bit during your last appearance on the show when you talked about your U.S. military service, but we didn't go into much into this, the State Department security contractor. So
if you talk to this guy about his U.S. military service and you saw no problem with that, I gotta say, Ryan Grim is so compromised. Krystal Ball is so compromised. These people are not anti-imperialists. They're people who think that killing you for a paycheck is fine for Americans. There's no possible way for them to whitewash this guy, to go so hard, lying for him endlessly. It's insane.
Who did you work for, and why? And for people who are skeptical of American empire, why should that not be disqualifying?
So, I never worked for Blackwater. This is
He's been coached on this, you can tell.
See this everywhere, and I'm always like, oh, for God's sake. The company that we all know is Blackwater, the one that Jeremy Scahill wrote about back in the late 2000s. That company, Eric Prince's little kind of warlord fantasy, that company essentially went away after 2012.
He worked for, as I said, a merger between all the different major mercenary companies and Blackwater. Just because Eric Prince wasn't the CEO anymore doesn't mean it was still not functionally the same company. It's not like the other mercenary companies were any better. It's actually insane that they just let him lie about this and they don't say anything, they don't push back against it at all. Now, it's funny that he mentioned Eric Prince here because Mr. Platner actually has a history of defending Eric Prince. Here are some of his posts from Reddit. From 2018, the year that he was in Afghanistan working for Blackwater, when Eric Prince was accused of having been involved in like an assassination market where he sold a targeted assassination to the Bush administration. In 2018, Mr. Platner made 4 fucking consecutive posts defending him, saying, "We should really wait for more sources to verify this claim." The NYT piece says the company provided assistance in a logistical goal and wasn't successful in killing or capturing any targets. It's too much of an exaggeration. Eric Prince wasn't that bad of a guy. He also has a long history of defending Blackwater on Reddit, which isn't exactly something that you would expect from a guy who believed that they were like an infamous mercenary company. Here he is defending the Almasor Square massacre, which is an infamous Blackwater massacre, the most infamous one, where they killed like a dozen people, shooting like a random cars in a roundabout in Iraq. He says here, the big events were simply massive fuck-ups from ill-prepared and unchained amateurs like Nisr Square. The Blackwater hit squad's narrative is complete bullshit. It's all security, okay? It's just security. So Ryan Grim invited this guy on and just allowed him to lie, basically. And he helped him lie. He's like, Constellus wasn't Blackwater. It was an offshoot. There's nothing to do with it. Ryan Grim is someone who knows that this is a lie. He knows what Constellus is. He knows it very much, for all intents and purposes, is Blackwater. It's not like the other mercenary companies are better than Blackwater. It's not like having done 4 fucking tours because you openly say you wanted to murder people and then you did so and you talk about how it was an excellent experience and you enjoyed it, is any better than working for Blackwater, because it's not. But he doesn't question him on that at all. Ryan Grim just gives him the most ridiculous softball questions. The opportunity to say exactly what his PR consulting firm told him to say every single time. In none of these like people who are defending Grand Plan will you ever see them talk about the victims. And he's admitted to murdering people. He's admitted to killing people multiple times. I have a fucking video on it. I'll show you. In this video right here, I fucking go over his Reddit comments where he's like, I wanted to have an adventure and kill some people. That's why I joined the Marines. I did Fallujah and Ramadi, and I managed to kill people and have an adventure. It was a hell of an excellent experience. This guy just brags about murdering people, and everyone just lies for him. They all just fucking lie for him. Like, I'm literally alone here in debunking this shit. And the problem of this isn't just this instance, it's the broader question of, do Americans consider non-Americans equal humans or not? Because I've been at this for years at this point on how Americans think that they are the ones who get to like forgive their veterans who went and fucking mass murdered people. The victims don't even factor into it. They don't even have to be repentant. They don't have to acknowledge they did something wrong. They don't have to own up to what they did, like Platner doesn't. They don't have to talk about their victims at all, which he never does. You went overseas to kill people for America, and we as Americans forgive you for that. You killed people for us. We forgive you. Let's not even talk about the fucking victims. Let's not even talk about anything else. We unconditionally forgive you, even though you've done fucking nothing to earn it. You're not even repentant for it. You don't regret it. You literally talk about it like it was a fun game for you. You brag about it constantly. And this is just another example of that. I've seen this for years. Ever since I got involved in this YouTube shit, Americans endlessly do this. And it has to fucking change, because otherwise you guys are just going to keep fucking massacring people and then finding fucking excuses to forgive the people who did the massacre, the murderers. I'm so fucking sick of it. This is clearly supremacist tendency in these people, in that they find it so fucking easy to forgive mass murderers when the mass murderers are from their own in-group. And they literally do PR for them. Ryan fucking Grimm doing PR for this guy. These people never get to say like, well, that guy's a rapist. Well, that guy's a criminal. Well, that guy's a murderer. Because they've shown that as long as the criminal rapist murderer promises that he will like raise welfare by 2% for Americans, they will suck his cock. They never get to say anything like that ever again. So Ryan Grimm just like let Platner lie here. But more importantly, I think it's very interesting to just listen to Grimm and Platner talk about what he did to Iraq and Afghanistan and the reversal of victim and offender that they engage in. Like, they never mention the victims. They actually he frames himself and like other soldiers who murdered people as the victims.
But I wanted to ask again for audience.
Think about that as you watch this. Pay attention to who they choose to talk about and frame as the victims. These people engage in the reversal of victim and offender that is honestly on the same level as like Israel and Zionism.
Our audience as well, because this is something that people are very curious about. One of the more disturbing Reddit posts that people have circulated talks about, it's a question, if you could fight in previous wars, what would you do? And
he's whitewashing that. The actual question, the reason why people thought it was bad is because it was, he said he would fight in like a bunch of American genocides. Like, he said he would specifically sign up to do genocide and colonialism and colonial occupation. He said that he would have volunteered to fight in the Indian Wars, in the Indian Wars being the Native American genocide, the American colonial genocide of the Philippines, Haiti, Nicaragua, Vietnam. And he said he would have he loved to fight in Iraq and Afghanistan. Ryan Grimm is specifically getting rid of all the context where he said he wanted to participate in like a bunch of genocides. Like, no one's angry because he said he would have enjoyed killing Nazis or Confederates. People are angry because he said he literally wanted to do genocide to Native Americans and Filipinos and stuff, and Vietnamese people. And Ryan Grimm just frames this question in such a slimy lie way, because this is ultimately a PR puff piece. It's not an interview. There's no pushback. It's an opportunity for Graham Platner to whitewash his image. But nonetheless, listen to the way that Platner talks about this, and you'll see precisely what I mean with the framing. The victims don't even come into it. Not for Ryan Grimm, not for Platner. The dead Iraqis and Afghans, these piles of brown bodies, go unmentioned. It's all about how hard this was for the soldiers and how the soldiers are victims, the perpetrators are victims. The Davo is insane.
And you talk about kind of the joy almost of combat. And I think, so can you talk about like how you got into a mindset where you believed that, and whether you still share that mindset, whether you're in touch with it, and how that relates to your current posture towards American imperialism and wars in general? Because we're talking about people getting killed.
I viewed myself for a long time as a professional soldier. It was my identity.
It was my identity. Yeah, I viewed myself as a professional serial killer is the better framing for that, okay? And that's not acceptable. Like, a professional rapist next? What's next? These people just invent these identities, and it's like, I'm a professional soldier, and my vocation is what? Invading Iraq and Afghanistan and massacring fucking random goat herders? I
was a very competent soldier. I saw a fairly significant amount of combat. I also, and I mean, this is a weird, I'm going to work on this till I die, I think. I still have I have a very complicated relationship with my time in combat because I think it was all for nothing. I think the horror...
But if it was for something, it would have been okay. If Americans had gotten something out of it, it would have been fine.
And the violence that I took part in was completely pointless.
Like him saying the horror, that's the first time he's ever like even slightly like he hasn't actually mentioned any specific. That's the first time I've ever seen him, and I've seen so much material from this guy. He's ever even come close to mentioning like what he did to the victims, but he's not going to mention anything else like that.
And yet I still have this element of me that when I was engaging in it, like I found infantry combat very exhilarating.
This man is a fucking serial killer. He's a complete and utter serial killer. Listen to him. It was exhilarating for me to like go to these other countries, invade them with like overwhelming force of arms and every advantage in the world, and just fucking destroy them and massacre their desperate people trying to defend their families from me. Exhilarating.
I found infantry combat. I found my proficiency in being an effective soldier in combat as something that I viewed. I was very proud of it, and I, in some ways, enjoyed it. But I want to make it clear: people, I think, I never enjoyed or relished in killing, ever.
Okay, that's a lie. I mean, I went over this on already. Let's go over it again. He said he specifically joined because he wanted to kill people. He's just lying. And Ryan Grimm, a supposed journalist, is just letting him fucking lie. I posted this myself. Why did you enlist in the Marine Corps? Ryan Grimm on Reddit in 2020. I wanted to have a fun adventure and kill some people. And then I did kill people. It was a hell of an excellent experience. Yes, you did. You're a fucking liar. The professional challenge of it.
But it was more like the professional challenge of other people are trying to kill you, and then you have to make decisions.
For this guy, murdering Afghans and Iraqis is like a fun game, a professional challenge. Other people are trying to kill you because you're invading their fucking country. Imagine a Nazi soldier talking about the Holocaust like this. There's no fucking difference. And the problem is that you don't see a difference.
And be effective in your weapon systems, be effective in your leadership in order to survive and then like win. And that was how I always viewed it. And the thing that I connect with now is that when I look back through history...
He's going to use a word here he's never used before.
See a lot of people who, like me, engaged in wars of imperialism, wars of colonialism, who that experience in many ways, shapes and forms, turned them into dedicated opponents to it.
That's so funny. It's the first time he's ever used the word imperialism or colonialism, by the way. Now, we've been over his platform on this channel. His platform is blankly militaristic and imperialist. There's nothing anti-imperialism, anti-colonialism in there. It's, in fact, the exact fucking opposite. Ryan Grimm just lets him lie. He said he turned into, like, dedicated opponents to imperialism and colonialism. I mean, we have posts from him in fucking 2021 saying that he would still be in the imperialist US military. This one right here. He said, if I could have just stayed in the gun section, I would still be in the Marine Corps. In November 2021, he posted this, and you're saying that he radicalized and turned against imperialism and colonialism. He would still be in the fucking US military right now if they would just let him keep killing people. He said it. Why are you just letting him lie?
One of the reasons I am in such opposition to this stuff now...
No, you're fucking not. He's against what he calls pointless wars, and he wants to pay American military personnel more to recruit more of them to fight China.
I know how easy it is.
You're not against this stuff.
As a young person who...
Now, here is where he goes into what he thinks is the bad side of this. It's going to be the effect it has on the perpetrators, not on the victims.
Wants to go do this kind of thing for whatever reason, how easy it is to be taken in by it. I mean, and that's why we shouldn't do it. Because there will always be young men and women who, in their youth, are going to be taken into being part of something bigger, finding meaning in struggle and suffering.
Finding meaning in fucking invading other people's countries and genociding them. This guy talks like a fucking Nazi. You see, he's not actually talking about the fucking victims at all. It's just the perpetrators being reframed as victims.
And all that stuff. And if that's going to happen, that should never be taken advantage of by a political apparatus, which is exactly what happened. It's what happened to me.
Oh my God, it happened to you. You went back 5 times. And you talk about it today like it was a fun game, and you say that you would join up again. You're not a fucking victim. It happened to you. This didn't happen to you. You chose this. You chose this as much as a Nazi soldier chose to fucking murder a Jew. You pig. And Ryan Grimm just sits there and lets him lie.
I struggle with it. I'm going to struggle with this until the day I die.
You don't struggle with it at all. You relish in it.
I don't think there's an answer in here because I will always find some connection and some, I don't know, feelings of.
It's never it was morally wrong. It's always it was pointless. His problem mostly is that the US fucked up Iraq and Afghanistan. The US did not install a long-lasting American puppet regime that could get super profits for Americans. That's his problem here. It was pointless for Americans. It's not actually that it was immoral, not that it was genocide. It's just always that it was pointless.
Self-worth in how good of a soldier I was, but I also think it was all pointless. And it's, and I'm doing better with it now. I mean, for a number of years there, it sent me into a dark place because I couldn't square the two. And I still can't square them, but I think, frankly, developing a more structural critique has allowed me some, I'm like, oh yeah, right. I did this for the service of something I was not in charge of. And that kind of, I'm not trying to get myself off the hook. It's just that there is a way of...
Yes, you fucking are. All this is designed to get you off the hook. What have you ever done? You think you should be on the hook? You don't fucking think that. Otherwise, you would be fucking in Iraq and Afghanistan right fucking now on your knees begging for forgiveness. You lying fuck.
Describing it where I don't have to feel... I no longer require it to have meant anything. It doesn't mean, it no longer has to have value to me. I think it was valueless, and I'm okay with it.
The value for you is that you were paid to murder people. Obviously, you're fucking okay with it. Obviously, you're okay with it. It's not your family who you killed. Now, Ryan Grimm, no pushback, moves on to the next question. This is characteristic of a puff piece. It's not an interview. An interview is a back and forth. This is a puff piece. Ryan Grimm is asking him predetermined questions that he has predetermined answers to. This is disgusting garbage, man. Anyway, I just wanted to include that in here because it reveals the mentality that Ryan Grimm, Krystal Ball, Platner, and many others have, which is this reframing of the victims to basically not exist. And then in the place of the victims of these American troops who voluntarily signed up and willingly killed these people, they move the perpetrators. The American troops themselves are reframed as victims. The actual victims literally aren't even mentioned. He didn't mention anything in regards to them there. It says so fucking much about how these people perceive of American imperialism. They're against it because they see it. They think it doesn't benefit Americans, but they think as an individual, you still are okay. You're still fine if you want. It's still fine if you want to join up and murder people for your own benefit. It's just on the broader spectrum, the overall wars didn't benefit Americans enough to be justified. But as an individual, you could get paid, you could get free college, free healthcare. So ultimately, if you wanted to kill Iraqis and Afghans, you are justified in it. That's their mentality. The victims are not even fucking factors to them. In fact, the perpetrators become the victims. These people are not anti-imperialism at all. They are just flatly disgusting genocidal imperialists. Dear God. The way that they lie for him and do all this PR puff piece bullshit for him while pretending to be alternative media, it's beyond fucking words.